Hey guys, yeah, as you guys can clearly see, I am not there. And yeah, kind of pre-recording this, I didn't know I was going to be out. So here is kind of the plan. This is going to be a direction video as well as a help video for your classwork today. I have left you only one assignment, no warm-up. It is just going to be an 18 question informal quiz, not really a quiz. It's graded as a homework and classwork assignment. So it'll be going in the gradebook as a prepare assignment. There is no limit on the number of retests you can do. Sorry about the cat climbing all over me. No limit on the retests you can do. You can try it as many times as you want. There is no time limit. There's no time constraint on the retests. But it is due before class starts tomorrow. Before class starts tomorrow, I will be taking a grade for this. And if you don't have it, it'll be graded like a late piece of classwork. This is going to be kind of an intro to word problems with solving equations with variables on both sides. There's also going to be a couple of inequality questions, but really this is mostly focused on the word problem aspect, less so on solving the problems. So we'll go ahead and get started. I'll be doing half of the assignment with you. That said, if at any point during this video you get the feeling that you are totally confident and you do not feel like you'll have any worries on the rest of the assignment, you can feel free to just end the video and continue working at your own pace. If you finish early, I gave out progress reports Friday. You guys kind of know what your grades are. Just a friendly reminder, we have had one perform level assignment grade so far this quarter, and because there is only one of them, it is worth a huge chunk of your grade. So if you want a way to make up your grade fast, redoing that one assignment is really going to work wonders. Even if you currently have an 80, redoing that and getting, say, a 90 is going to be enough to increase your grade by a few points. So, with all that said, I'm just going to go ahead and get started, and good luck. So, question one, this is more going to be a tip on how to shorten these problems. This one is asking which solution has an infinite number of solutions. As we've learned the past couple weeks, infinite solutions is where we're solving a problem and we get something that looks like 2 equals 2. It is where the left side and the right side are perfectly equal with no discrepancies. So we can kind of go through and try to find problems that we know are not going to come out that way. Case in point for this one, 10x, 6x, they have different amount of x's on both sides. We know equation 1 is not going to be it. Equation 2, I can do a little bit of distributive property first. Negative 2 times 2x, oh, that would actually cancel out because we would have negative 2x on this side and negative 2x on that side. But if I do negative 2 times 3, that would give me negative 6. So I'd have negative 6 plus 8. Well, negative 6 plus 8 would give me 2. And that would leave me with a 2 on this side and a 9 on this side. That is not balanced. 2 does not equal 9. So that would be an example of no solution. So equation 2 is not going to be it either. Equation 3, this one's going to be a little bit hard and longer. So I'm actually going to skip equation 3 for now. I'm going to go straight to equation 4 and see if I can work this one out, because this one I'll have to do 2 distributive property parts. Equation 4, I've only got to do it once. So let's just do 1. 2 times x would be 2x. 2 times 8 would be 16. We then have plus x minus 12. Well, I can see over here 2x plus 1x would be 3x. But on this side, 4x plus 1x would be 5x. So we already see it's going to be 5x on this side and 3x on this side. So it's not going to be equation 4. If I wanted to, we could work out equation 3 and double check, make sure that that is going to be it, but really it's not necessary. We kind of already have this one figured out because we know it can't be equation 1, can't be equation 2, and it can't be equation 4. There is no reason to go through and do the longest one if we can eliminate the 3 shorter ones. So that's kind of a tip, not so much how to solve these type of problems. You don't always have to get to the solution. You just have to figure out which ones the solutions aren't. For question 2, this is more along the lines of what you can expect. It will be a visual along with a couple of equations. So in this one, it says M is the midpoint of line LN. So this whole line is crossed right dead set in the middle by letter M. So LM and MN are exactly the same. Both halves of that line are exactly the same. It tells us that LM, this section, is equal to 1/2 x plus 8, and this section is equal to 1/4 x plus 16. And it's asking us what would the length of that whole line be. So they want the total of this section. So this piece is 1/2 x plus 8. This half is 1/4 x plus 16. Well, if I want to know the grand total of both of these sides combined, you just put a plus sign in there. Done. All you're doing is adding those two equations together. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to say add. We're going to set these as being equal to both of these. Yeah, we can add them, but what good is that going to do us? We have no clue what x is yet. But if we set these two equations equal to each other, we can figure out what x is going to be. So we have 1/2 x plus 8, which is equal to 1/4 x plus 16. So step 1, get rid of the smaller variable. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this 1/4 x, so minus 1/4 of an x from both sides. And yeah, that looks strange, but I mean, 1/2 minus 1/4, you can kind of think of it as you've got 2 quarters, taking away 1/4, you are left with 1/4 x. So 1/4 x is going to be on the left side, plus 8 equals, and on the right side, all that is left is 16. Now we've got a pretty normal looking math problem. So we've got 1/4 x plus 8. We're going to subtract 8 from both sides of the equation. That will leave me with 1/4 x is equal to 8. And then all we are going to do is divide both sides of my equation by 1/4. Keeping in mind that if we're dividing a fraction, we're really multiplying the reciprocal or doing keep, change, flip. So keeping this fraction the same, changing the multiplication, and flipping by doing 4/1. That will cancel out my fraction. Incidentally, it will also make this a whole lot easier. 8 divided by 1/4, tricky. 8 times 4, not tricky. So x is going to equal 32. Before you cross out and say that that one was the right answer, it's not. The answer is not 32. 32 is what x equals. We still have to figure out what the whole line is going to be. And I have a trick for you on that. You only really need one of these equations to do it. See, if one side of the equation is equal to the other, if you find how long one side is, you can just multiply that by 2 and not have to do two equations. So I'm going to choose to plug it in for this equation because 1/2 is easier to work with than 1/4. So we have 1/2 of x, or 1/2 of, we now know is 32, not 3, 32, plus 8. So we're going to go ahead and do 1/2 of 32, which is going to be 16. 16 plus 8 gives me 24. So we now know this side is 24. And if we know the left side is 24, and both sides are equal, then the right-hand side would also be 24. If I were to take those two sides and combine them, 24 plus 24, I get the real correct answer, which is 48. And yes, I did plan to do a problem this hard this early on. There are going to be more problems kind of like this coming up in this assignment, so please, if you have just kind of been nodding off and not following along too closely, now would be an excellent time to start honing in, because I'm going to be giving you half of the answers to this entire assignment. So if you want to make sure that you are guaranteed to only have to do half the work, please pay attention. Let's go ahead and move on to question 3. Which inequality represents the solution for negative 2x plus 3 is less than or equal to negative 7? So for this, we'll go ahead and solve it. This one is just a two-step equation, so we don't have an x on both sides. So we'll subtract 3 from both sides. This becomes negative 2x is less than or equal to, that would be negative 10. Negative 7 minus 3. Two negatives, it's going to become more negative. And then we have negative 2x, so I have to divide both sides by negative 2, keeping in mind that because I divided a negative, something's going to happen to my symbol. This is going to say x is now greater than or equal to negative 10 divided by negative 2. A negative divided by a negative equals a positive, and a positive 5. So first of all, we should have a dot comparing our value at positive 5. This one is at negative 2, this one is at positive 5, this one is at positive 2, and this one is at negative 5. So we don't even really have to worry about which way the arrow is going. But for future reference, x is greater than 5, so we are shading in all numbers greater than 5. And because it can also be equal to, our circle is shaded in. If this symbol did not have the extra line underneath it, then it would be an open circle, not a closed circle. I don't think there are any problems like that on this assignment, but just in case there are and my memory is bad, that is how those problems would be handled. For question number 4, it says the length of the rectangle is 14 meters more than the width. It tells us that the perimeter of the rectangle is 264 meters. And it asks what are all of the dimensions of the rectangle. So, okay, here's what we have. That we have the perimeter, which is 264. And we know the perimeter is going to be this side plus this side plus this side plus this side. And we know these two are the same, those two are the same. So we are effectively doing W plus W, so the two widths, plus the two lengths, which is W plus 14. So W plus 14 plus W plus 14. This is our equation. This is our nightmare mess of an equation. Or at least it's going to start as a nightmare. What we have to do is start by combining like terms. This is a crazy looking problem. Let's make it shorter and more concise. We can combine my two positive 14s, and we can also combine the W's, and it looks like there were 4 of them. So we're going to do 264 is equal to, there were 4 W's, so 4 W's, plus 14 plus 14, which is 28. A much more reasonable problem to work with at this point. So from here, we're just going to solve it like normal. Subtract 28 from both sides of the equation. So minus 28, do a bit of borrowing over here. And we get our answer as 236 on this side is equal to 4W. At this stage, we are going to divide both sides of our equation by 4. And we might want to write this off to the side. This is not supposed to be calculator active. And I don't want you guys suddenly forgetting how to do basic long division. 4 goes into 2 0 times. 4 goes into 23 5 times. So that would be 20 minus the 20 there and get a 3. Carry down the 6, and 4 goes into 36 9 times. Just that to prove it. And we get that W equals 59. So W, the width, is going to be 59. Let's go ahead and see what everything is, how everything's going to be, because it says the length is 14 meters more. So the width is 59 meters. That checks out. Width is 62. Nope. 73. Nope. This one, 60, 86. No. They tried to trick you with C. C also has 59, but keep in mind it says that the length is 14 meters more than the width. So 14 more, that would make this one the length. W plus 14 would be the length, which is 13 plus, or sorry, 14 plus 59. So the real answer we wanted for number 4 was supposed to be A. They were trying to trick you there. For question number 5, it says Sam, oh, apparently Sam is doing this problem. So Sam is using linear equation x minus y equals -5 to plot the graph. If the y coordinate is 7, what would be the value of the x coordinate? They are not trying to trick you. This problem seems incredibly easy because it is incredibly easy. All they want you to do is they want you to substitute 7 for y and solve the problem. That's all they want. They just want you to do x minus 7 equals -5. And yes, it is as simple as adding 7 to both sides and getting x is equal to 2. I was too lazy to delete this problem from the test. What can I say? This problem was kind of there to be a gimme. I meant for it to be later in the test, but here it is early. For question number 6, study this equation. W equals r minus 47 over -4. I threw this one in. It's technically only a two-step equation, but we don't see these types of problems often where we have a number in the denominator we have to get rid of. And it tells us that W equals 8. So my real equation is 8 equals r minus 47 over -4. And the question is, how do we solve it? You are going to have to first get rid of that -4 on the bottom. You cannot start by adding 47. You start by adding 47, you will get the wrong answer. Simple as that. So for starters, to get rid of this, which says divided by -4, that's what that fraction line is saying, we have to multiply both sides by -4. So -4 times 8 gives me -32, which equals r minus 47. My denominator is gone. The denominator was -4, but by multiplying that by -4, we cancel it out. The denominator would become 1. So r minus 47, and now it's just a one-step equation. Add 47 to both sides. And I seem to have to repeat this a lot, so I'll repeat it one more time. If you are adding a positive to a negative, or if you're subtracting a negative from a positive, if the two numbers that are stacked on top of each other have opposite symbols, then you are going to functionally subtract those two numbers, and your answer is going to be positive if the positive number is more, and it will be negative if the negative number is more. In this case, 32 is less than 47, so the answer is going to be a positive. Matter of fact, we can kind of see that looking at the answer choices. Also, we'll have to rearrange that. 47 minus 32. And when I do that, I get 15. So R would equal positive 15. This is how number 6 was supposed to be done. All right, let's go ahead and do another one. I think we have a little bit more time to do maybe 3 more. I do want to only do about halfway and leave the other half for you. Number 7, it gives us a formula, D equals 26t plus 32.5, and it is used to find distance between two cars after traveling a certain number of hours in opposite directions, where D is equal to distance and T is representing hours. It asks how many hours will it take the cars to be 117 miles apart. So they gave us our distance, 117 miles. So we have to plug that into our equation. We have 117 miles, which is equal to 26 times t hours plus 32.5. So it's not terribly difficult, but there is a decimal. So this might take a little bit more trial. We are going to start same way as always by subtracting our constant from both sides, minus 32.5. And I'm going to do this off to the side just so that way I don't crowd that area too much. We have 117.0, We can agree that point 0 does not change the value of this number, minus 32.5. Do a little bit of borrowing to get started. And we can see that this one is going to come out to be 11 minus 3, which will be 8, 84.5. So we get 84.5 on this side, which is equal to 26t. At this point, we are going to divide both sides by 26, divided by 26, and now we can kind of use our answer choices to help us. 84.5, we kind of know that is not going to be 1/2. That it's not going to be 0.5. We can see that. 26, even if we're rounding and saying this is 85 on the top, 26 will go into 85 probably about 3 times. 3 and then a little bit more with some remainder. You can use that knowledge, that little bit of estimating, to basically end the problem here. We know it's going to go in 3 and a little bit more. Well, there's only one answer choice that is 3 point something, so therefore, this has to be the correct answer. And it is. If I were to set this up off to the side, it would take a little bit more, but it would come out to 3.25. So save yourself some work, do some estimating. This is why in earlier grades we spent so much time on just estimating. It helps us eliminate answers without us having to do all the heavy lifting of actually multiplying and dividing. Moving on to question number 8. This one is just asking us what the best first step for an equation is going to be. And in this equation, it gives us negative 6x plus 15 equals 33. So for this problem, what would be the ideal first step? What would be the best thing we could do? And the correct answer is hopefully what everybody is kind of saying to themselves right now. You would subtract 15 from both sides. We would not divide everything by negative 6. That would get super messy super fast. We would not add 15 to both sides. We would only do that if this 15 was a negative. We also wouldn't add 6 because the 6 is attached to a variable. We can't do anything with our coefficient until we've gotten rid of the constants. So for number 8, the ideal first step would have been D. Subtract 15 from both sides. And I'm thinking this one might be the last problem we do. Admission to the state fair is $8. It costs an additional $1.50 to go on each ride. And Jordan spent a total of $15.50 on admission and rides. So we have a total. They told us the total is $15.50. That's the total amount of money he spent. Just to get into the state fair, it's $8. And then it is an additional $1.50 per ride. So what we're going to do is we're going to be adding that additional $1.50 for how many rides. At no point in this equation did they tell us how many rides there are. We just know that we would multiply $1.50 times however many rides he went on. So we're going to do 1.50 or $1.50 times the number of rides, which I'm going to use the letter R to represent number of rides. Once we have this equation set up, it's easy. It's just a normal two-step equation again. We subtract both sides by 8, and that is going to give me a little bit less than 8. That would give me $7.50 equals $1.50 per ride. And then we would just divide both sides by $1.50. And you can kind of count this one just on your fingers even. $1.50, add it again, $3, add it again, $4.50, add it again, $6.50, or $6, add it again, $7.50. So $7.50 at $1.50 per ride gets you 5 rides. Jordan probably should have brought more money to the state fair. That doesn't sound like a great time to me. And that puts us halfway through. So now we are sitting right around 25 minutes into the class period. if I've timed all this right, if you've been following along, that gives you the second half of class, or a little bit more than the second half, to do the remaining 9 problems. Nine or 12. I forget how many problems are actually left. I think there's only 9. There might be 10. So that is it. That is it for the assignment. All I can say is good luck. Make sure you finish this before class tomorrow because this is going in as a homework grade, so it can be late. And that's going to do it. Once you are finished, take a look at your grades, see what you can do to make it up. We have had one formal assignment, formal assessment, that big unit test. If you do that test, since it's the only one in the grade book, it will help your grade an abnormal amount. So that is it. Good luck, and I'll see you tomorrow.